Voy a grabar aquí y buenos días. ¿Cómo están todos? ¿Están bien?
¿Están bien?
Good? Sí, magnífico. Ok, muy bien, fantástico. Quick reminder, I think we need one or maybe two more people to sign up for summer. That's all. For that to be a go, because they do have a minimum of 8 and we're super close. And there are definitely, I'm sure 2 more weeks or 3 more weeks for that to happen. So we're in good shape there. Excelente. ¿Qué vamos a hacer hoy? What are we going to do today? Today, we're going to work those practice ideas using saber and conocer, or the 2 verbs that mean to know. And it's always good to review these because they're not as bad as ser and estar. They're not as bad, but you know, there are little things we forget, and just seeing more examples and practicing that is good. So if you need it, I'm just going to show it so that you know, wow, why is my internet lagging here? ¿Qué pasa? Let's try a refresh. Our saber and conocer files, you may need that. And then we had some adjective words as well. I'll show the adjective words. Saber and conocer and adjectives. Wow, why is my system lagging? I didn't update the kiss of death. Don't update. Oh my God. Oh, finally. Now, por fin. Okay. And we're tying some of that saber and conocer information in with the adjective words. Oh, wow. Why is my internet running so slow? Okay. Para que sepan. So, you know, I'm going to show you these 2 screens. And the reason they're not seeing them now is because my Wi-Fi is lagging. Yeah. So these little pictured items, you know, if you need to bring that up, do so. You'll see them on screen. But if you like to have a separate screen, you have a couple of minutes to look for that. And these are the questions we used. I want us to have time to spend small group time on these as well. And these are looking at the more advanced adjectives. Just a good idea to always start looking at expanding vocabulary with more advanced adjectives. The work for next week will tie into this adjective bit. So hopefully a lot of it dovetails and kind of all rolls together in a nice big blob. Here we go. Okay. A ver. So let's start with saber conocer. Bien? Okay. Vale. Y vamos a ver, I'm going to put this on just so you can see this. And again, you'll get the links to this with the email. So don't feel you have to furiously take notes. Don't need to do that. Just focus with this. Here we go. Presente, just to use this in present tense. Saber and conocer are not hard to conjugate because they're both ER verbs. So they're going to use the endings you expect, except for yo. These are 2 of the odd verbs that are irregular just for yo, but they follow those ER verb conjugation patterns every place else. So, but because we talk a lot about ourselves and because people ask us about ourselves, we need to know those yo forms, okay? Because we talk about ourselves a lot. So for saber, just a gentle reminder, don't use sabo, because that won't make any sense. That ain't going to fly. People will be very puzzled hearing sabo. Wow, okay. Sé. Okay. Yo sé. Also know that when we use that verb sé with the little accent mark, often it is phrased as lo sé. Lo sé, I know it. Just because quite often people will use it that way. And the yo form for conocer, conozco, which does have that O ending you expect for yo, but it gets a ZCO, which is just a phonetic thing to keep the S sound there in that. Because if we didn't put the ZCO, it would sound like conozco. Conozco with a co at the end. Doesn't sound like it comes from conocer, that ser sound at the end of the conocer infinitive. So that's why that happens. It's a phonetic thing with conocer. But these other endings are what you would expect. Sabes, sabe, sabemos. Sabes we don't use so much here, but they do only in Spain, so we don't practice that one. Saben, and then conoces, conoce, conocemos. Conoces, again, Spain only uses that, so we're not going to focus on that one. And conocen. So there are the forms that we need. And why do we need two forms of to know? Well, in Spanish, these are because saber is used for talking about just facts, information, data, if you will, and how to do something, okay? And we don't need that word how as a general rule, okay? So we combine saber with a second verb, right? I know how to cook something. I know how to fix something. I know how to read something. I know how to make something, okay? And that second verb does not have to be conjugated. We just need saber conjugated. Conocer, on the other hand, is really more like our English concept of to be familiar with, okay? So conocer is used to say that you know something on a very deep level. The down and dirty, easy way to know conocer is we use it to talk about knowing people because you've met them and being familiar with places, geographic places, because you've been there, okay? Because you've been there. I know where a lot of things are located. That does not mean I am familiar with those places, okay? There's a difference. So just knowing that something exists, that's saber, but being familiar with a topic on a very deep level, but more commonly being familiar with places because you know your way around there, that's conocer. Knowing people because you've met them face to face, that's conocer. Okay. And the other little thing here, the other little snippet is that when you meet somebody for the first time, that is another use for conocer, meeting somebody, the idea of to meet. We do not use conocer to say, por ejemplo, for example, I'm meeting up with some friends for coffee. That is not a use for conocer. Meet up is not conocer. Get together with is not conocer. All right, but meeting somebody for the first time. Okay, and they give us many, many examples here. Saber, información. Sabemos que la Tierra es redonda. We know that the Earth is round. That's just information. ¿Sabéis qué pasó? Do you guys know what happened? If we use this with Latin American Spanish, it would be more like, ¿sabes qué pasó? Do you know what happened? Or ¿sabe usted qué pasó? Do you know what happened? Okay, that's just asking about information. Do you know what happened? Yo sé hablar español. Here's the how-to. Sé hablar español. Tú sabes cocinar. You know how to cook. Again, a how to do something. And the how word, that word we think of as como, how, doesn't get translated. We don't need that. Okay. Tú sabes cocinar. Some examples with conocer. Conozco a María. I know Maria. I know a human being. It's Maria. We just need that little word there. When a human being receives the action, I know somebody. Yeah. That in this example, Maria, the person who is Maria, is an object, meaning they receive that action of who do you know? And we just need that little word there when we have a human being as an object. Okay, that little word is not translatable. It just needs to be there. Human beings who receive action in a sentence, we need to have the word in front of whoever that person is. Maria, not conozco Maria. That if you said conozco Maria, would somebody understand you? Yes, but it would sound really strange to them. And they would miss a little beat thinking about that. Oh, you mean conozco a Maria. Okay, so we need with a human being that little word Mis padres conocen Barcelona. My parents know Barcelona. Think of it as I know my way around, right? I've been to Barcelona. Yeah, I've been there. Tú me conoces? Do you know me? And there we don't need an because that little pronoun is the direct object pronoun. Me conoces. Conocemos este libro. We are familiar with this book, meaning we have read through this book. We have studied parts of this book. We have browsed through it. Okay. So those are some good examples, and we're going to skip our past examples here. Actually, we won't skip this one example. This gives you an example. I won't expect you to know how to use this yet because this is the past example. So some of you who have studied a little bit of past, you will recognize it. And if you don't recognize past, no big deal. But know that, again, when we mean meet for the first time, conocer, especially when we put it in the past, means met. Conociste a mis amigos el año pasado. You met my friends last year, meaning you met them for the first time. You were introduced to them. Okay, bien. Vale, let's take a quick look at, let's see if we can figure out what should this slot, this fill in the blank be? Ana blank, bailar flamenco. Ana can dance.
Sabe.
Sabe. We need saber, and we conjugate saber to talk about Ana as sabe. Ana sabe bailar flamenco. She knows how to dance flamenco. In other words, she can dance flamenco. I know we could say puede bailar. She can dance, but sabe bailar. She knows how to do it. I don't know this town.
Conozco.
It has to be conocer. And if it's I don't know, no conozco este pueblo. If I meant we don't know our way around, it would be no conocemos. But here we need a yo. I don't know, no conozco. My friends know you. And in Spanish, the word order is my friends, you, they know. Okay. That little word te is the you part. They're the ones who know. So we conjugate the verb, whichever verb we choose for amigos.
Conocen.
Conocen.
No.
Mis amigos te conocen. And just know, for those of you who are newer to this group, word order is different in Spanish. In English, we would say, my friends know you. The you part has to come in front of the verb in Spanish. So the you word, instead of being tú, when it receives the action, becomes not tú, but te. So instead of tú, we get te, and it's te conocen. You, they know. My friends, you, they know. That's the word order we need. Okay. They know how to ski.
Ellos saben.
Saben esquiar. Saben esquiar. They know how to ski. Okay. We know why plants are green.
Sabemos.
That's
Sabemos.
sabemos. That's just information. Yeah. Information. That's just data, facts, knowing stuff. Yeah. Sabemos por qué. We know why. Sabemos por qué las plantas son verdes. Bien. Every day I meet new people, meaning.
Conozco.
Yeah. Every day I meet, it becomes conozco. Todos los días conozco a gente nueva. And notice, even when the subject is not a name of a person, but it means people, gente is just a generic word for people. We need an a in front of that word, gente.
Marilyn, may I ask a question, please?
Sí, claro.
Would there be any other word that you would use for meet in this situation, or is it conozco?
Any other word you would use for meet?
Yeah.
No, because if
No,
you meet,
okay.
you're meeting them for the first time,
Okay.
right? Like
Right.
you've never seen them before. It has to be conozco. There is not another thing we can really substitute in there logically. If you want to say, I'm meeting some people today, meaning I'm going to go and I already know who these people are. I'm just getting together with them, right?
Mhm.
If the
Okay.
idea of meeting is more the concept of getting together with, it could be a few different things. Like it could be me reúno con mucha gente. I'm getting together with a lot of people. Or me encuentro con mucha gente. I'm getting together with. So if meet means getting together, but you already know them, it's different verbs. Yeah. This
Okay.
conocer means meeting, as in you haven't seen these people before.
Okay.
Okay, at all. So you're going to learn their names, you're going to shake hands, you're going to introduce yourself, all that good stuff. Okay.
Thank you.
A ver. Bien.
Are you going to give that explanation and recording thing, like
See, that whole website will go in your email after
I
class.
think that's really helped because I'm kind of confused at first.
Yeah,
when I look at
and
this
it'll let
one,
you
but
quiz yourself. Yeah.
saber and conocer, because it's like, how can you know, like Conosco Montreal? I thought like when you know about something, you know what it is. It's like sabe,
Mhm.
when you know. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of confused, but then that explanation, it's really helped.
Yeah.
The one that you just explained, that's
Mhm.
also this one is like sabe el nombre del abogado. I thought like I don't know. I thought it was conocer, but
So
I'm kind of mixed up with this.
let me show you an idea. Let's use that idea of Montreal.
But the explanation, the one that you give before this on that paper, that before like explaining everything, that's make it clear.
See,
That's good.
if I want to say, I know that Montreal is it's in Quebec.
Mhm.
That's just information. Yo sé que Montreal está en la provincia de Quebec. I know that Montreal is in the province of Quebec. That's just data. Yeah, nothing more than that. If I want to say, wow, so a lot of people will phrase this idea this way. If they want to tell you, wow, I've never been to Quebec. Wow, I've never been there. They may very well phrase that as no conozco Montreal, meaning I'm not familiar with it. And what they really are telling you is, I never been there. I don't know my way around. Yeah. They could say, no he estado en Montreal. I have never been in Montreal, but it's very, very common for people to say, no conozco Montreal. I don't know Montreal. And by
So
using
there's no
conocer with that,
possibility of saying no sé
uh,
Montreal.
yeah, if somebody says, no sé dónde está Montreal, I don't know where Montreal is, that's just information.
Okay.
No sé cómo, no sé qué tiempo hace en Montreal. I don't know what weather is like in Montreal. No sé, no sé la ruta para llegar a Montreal. I don't know the route to get to Montreal. Those are all just factual things. Okay. But if somebody has been to Montreal, they're likely to say, conozco Montreal. Or I've never been there. I don't know my way around that place at all. No conozco Montreal. It's very, very common. We can use conocer to talk about places, and that place can be as tiny as a room. It can be a building. Conocer with a place can be a neighborhood. It can be a city. It can be a state. It can be a country. It can be any kind of geographical place, any dot on a map. But to use conocer with a place, it means you have at some point been there. You have been there physically, okay? You don't just have book learning, okay, about that place. Okay, before we do some small group work, let's check this out. And again, you're going to get the link for this, but let's kind of apply this. This tells us to select the answer that is not correct. Oh, so the beginning of the sentence is, el camarero sabe. The waiter knows. And, okay. So 3 of these could be possible. 1 is not. El camarero sabe cocinar bien. How to cook well.
¿Cuánto
Does that make
cuesta
sense?
cada plato en el menú?
¿Sí? El camarero sabe todos los ingredientes. All the ingredients. Let's look at all of our examples. El camarero sabe ese restaurante cubano. He knows that Cuban restaurant. El camarero sabe cuánto cuesta cada plato en el menú.
Ese restaurante cubano.
How much, this last one means cuánto cuesta cada plato en el menú. How much each
plate.
each
menu.
dish costs on the menu. Okay, so which of these are, so we're looking for, we know it's saber. It's got to be how to or just data. How to or just data. Which 3 makes sense? Which one doesn't quite fit?
The third one. Ese restaurante.
Which one doesn't fit is
Este restaurante.
este restaurante. ¿Y por qué? Why? Oh, it tells you why. I forgot to give you.
Because it's a place.
The place.
It's a place, yeah. It's an actual place, okay? Let me show you a contrast of this idea of a place with either saber or conocer, okay? El camarero, if I wanted to say he knows that Cuban restaurant, that's a place. So it would have to be el camarero conoce, el camarero conoce ese restaurante cubano. If I morphed this around a little bit, I could use saber, but here's what I would have to do. I would have to make that Cuban restaurant into something that's information about the Cuban restaurant. So, por ejemplo, el camarero sabe dónde está
Ah,
el restaurante cubano. The waiter knows where the Cuban restaurant is. Where the restaurant is just a fact. It's data point. El camarero sabe dónde está el restaurante cubano. That works. But if I just want to say he knows a Cuban restaurant, then it means he has to have been there, right? Conoce. So that's the one that does not fit. Okay. And I'll send you this. You can quiz yourself later. Sí, pregunta, question?
On the other hand, camarero is a server, waiter, right?
Right.
So why would we think they know how to cook well?
Oh, okay. Buena pregunta. Anytime I use it with a verb, it's got to be saber. Anytime I pair it up with I cannot pair conocer with a second verb. So this choice of cocinar, hey, he just sets the plates down. What does he know about cooking? Okay, but cocinar is a verb, and I can only pair up saber with a verb. Does that make sense?
Well, I understand grammatically that one, the first choice is correct, but logically, the meaning, it doesn't seem like it's, I have no reason to believe that a waiter knows how to cook.
Okay. Entiendo. Eso sí es lógica.
Actually, at the beginning, but then I get it. Like
that is logical, but it's not. It's not a possible combination in that. Even though, yeah. Actually, what determines that right here is just that we cannot. The only verb we can combine with a second verb there is saber. Conocer cannot combine with a second verb. And that's kind of all that matters there. Sometimes we apply different rules of logic, but that's not the logic we can apply there. That's all I can tell you. Okay. Vale. We know something. Conocemos. We know it's got to be conocemos. So let's look at our choices. Ese Museo de Arte Moderno, that modern art museum. Pintar. Painting, an activity. Al artista Frida Kahlo, which would be pretty impossible unless it was a pretty, wow, we would have to be pretty ancient because Frida Kahlo is no longer alive to meet. But hey, okay. But al artista Frida Kahlo means actually knowing that person. El arte contemporáneo de México. Contemporary Mexican art. Okay.
I have a question about the Frida Kahlo. What doesn't it just mean that you have a lot of knowledge about her? You know her work.
It could mean that. See, yeah. Like I know about her life. I know about her philosophy of painting. I know about her style. Yeah, it could be that. But generally when we put a person there, yeah, it's face to face. But you're right. It could be familiar with her life, her work, all that stuff. See, yeah. Okay. So, which one of those three would not pair up well with nosotros conocemos?
Pintar.
Pintar. Pintar does not match up. Saber would have to match up with pintar. It would have to be sabemos pintar. We know how to paint. because again, it's the idea of I can only pair up saber with a second infinitive. That's all I can do. Okay. Ella no sabe. She doesn't know. Mi ciudad, my city. Donde vivo, where I live. Mi dirección. Dirección es address. Address. Usar un mapa. How to use a map. 3 of those make sense with ella no sabe. 1, sore thumb. Doesn't work.
Mi ciudad,
Nice,
mi ciudad,
Mi ciudad, ¿por qué? Why?
a location.
the patient.
This is a location, an actual physical place. So, ella no sabe mi ciudad. That we would need to say ella no conoce mi ciudad. To make, mi ciudad work, it would have to be ella no conoce mi ciudad, right? Ella no sabe dónde vivo. She doesn't know where I live. That's just data, info. Ella no sabe mi dirección. She doesn't know my address. My address is a number and a street. Data. That's all it is. Ella no sabe usar un mapa. Wow, she doesn't know how to use a map. That's ability, right? So those 3 work, but ella no conoce mi ciudad. That's how I would have to change that one sentence, okay? Vale. Tú quieres conocer. You want to know. Or maybe it would mean you want to meet. You want to be familiar with. You want to get to know. Oh, okay. Let's look at our possibilities. El Perú, the country of Peru. A mis parientes peruanos. That's not parents, it's
Peruvian
relatives. My Peruvian relatives, my relatives who are from Peru. A mis parientes peruanos. Las ruinas de Machu Picchu, the ruins of Machu Picchu, or hablar español. One of those 4 does not fit, cannot be used with tú quieres conocer.
Hablar
Hablar
español.
español. Hablar.
Hablar español does not work. To pair up hablar español with tú quieres, it would have to be tú quieres saber. Tú quieres saber hablar español. That's a little bit of a mouthful because that's combining a bunch of verbs. You want to know how to speak. You want to know how to speak. Tú quieres saber hablar español. But it makes sense to say tú quieres conocer el Perú. You want to become familiar with Peru. You want to actually go there. Yeah. Tú quieres conocer a mis parientes peruanos. You want to meet my relatives from Peru. That makes sense. They're people. Tú quieres conocer las ruinas de Machu Picchu. You want to become familiar with, meaning you want to actually go there. Okay. Vale. All right.
Marilyn,
Sí, sí.
just a question about the 4th choice that doesn't fit. Could you say it in a way that you want to be familiar with the language, the Spanish language? Would that?
Tú
meet the criteria?
tú quieres conocer el idioma español. You want to know, you want to be familiar with the language. But what most people would say is you want to know how to speak. Yeah. Yeah. So es posible, it's possible, but But the way that is written as hablar español, we would have to flip in the verb saber with hablar español. Tú quieres hablar. Tú quieres saber hablar español. It's a little bit awkward with that combination, but it's possible. Okay. No sabemos. We don't know. And here are our choices. ¿A dónde vas de vacaciones? Where you're going for vacation. Where you're going for vacation. Okay. Here's a second choice. Si vas a visitar las pirámides de Teotihuacán. There's a mouthful. Teotihuacán in Mexico. If you're going to go visit the pyramids of Teotihuacan in Mexico, if you're going to visit. Okay. Al guía mexicano, the Mexican guide, the guide who's a Mexican person, yeah? Al guía mexicano. And this guide doesn't mean like a book that's a guide. It's a human being because we've got this little word right here. We've got an a personal. That means that guía doesn't mean a book that tells you about a place. It means guía is an actual guide, a human being who is a guide. Al guía mexicano, the Mexican guide. Or la edad exacta de las, and that should be las pirámides. De las pirámides. Pirámides is feminine, okay? It is las pirámides. La edad exacta de las pirámides. The exact age of the pyramids. So we know we use saber with how to do stuff and information, data, facts. 3 of these make sense. 1 does not work with no sabemos. Which one doesn't work?
Al guía
Al guía
mexicano.
Mexicano.
This is talking about a human being. Al guía mexicano. So we would have to change it to no conocemos al guía mexicano. Meaning we don't know the guide. We've never seen that guy before. We haven't. In other words, we haven't met him. We don't know him. Okay. Bien. A ver. Un ejemplo más. One more example. Quiero saber. I want to know. Quiero saber. In more proper English, I want to know. But when we say that in English, it comes out as I want to know. I want to. Yeah, and when we speak English quickly, that's the way it comes out. Quiero saber. I want to know. El río Amazonas, the Amazon River. Wow, that would be a long trip. ¿Qué tiempo hace en una selva tropical? What the weather's like in a tropical jungle. What the weather's like. ¿Qué tiempo hace? What the weather's like in a tropical jungle. Identificar plantas raras. How do I ID? How to identify strange plants, unusual plants, rare plants? Raras can mean strange. It can also mean weird. It can also mean rare. Okay, it can mean any of those depending on the context. El número de teléfono, or perdón, el número, teléfono, no. El número de pájaros exóticos, the number of exotic birds. Pájaros are birds. Okay. El número de pájaros exóticos, the number of exotic birds. So one of those 4 does not make sense with quiero saber. I want to know.
El río Amazonas.
El río Amazonas.
Identificar plantas raras.
You think that one doesn't fit? Identificar? Is he
It's a,
different?
it's a verb. It's a verb. It has to go with saber.
It's a verb. It has to go with saber. There you go. Yeah, identificar, that one does make sense. Quiero saber identificar. I want to know how to identify.
But
I
this is
want to know
not the
how
one that
to.
is correct, right?
That is, yeah, that is correct. Identificar plantas raras does make sense. So we need to pick the one that does not fit with quiero saber.
El
El
Río
Río
Amazonas.
Amazonas.
El Río Amazonas. ¿Y por qué? Why? Because Río Amazonas, albeit a very vast and huge place, it's a geographic place. And saying quiero saber el río Amazonas, it's got to be quiero conocer. Quiero conocer. Okay, we would have to take out saber and plug in conocer. Quiero conocer el río Amazonas. I want to get to know. I want to actually go there and be there. Bien? It's albeit a huge geographic area, it's a geographic place. Okay. Bien. Vale. I will send you this. Yeah, I will send you this website because it's a good thing and you can kind of retry yourself because you're not going to remember every single one of those examples, right? You're not going to memorize them all. Bien. But, okay, a ver. Let's start off with examples first, and then I'm going to send you into some rooms to talk about these examples later. So let's look at our example, our samples that are already pre-made first before you go into practice. Okay. If we want to talk about what these people know how to do, knowing how to do stuff is saber. Yo sé arreglar la llanta. I know how to fix a tire. That's how to do it, right? Los chicos saben leer. They know how to read. I'm combined saber with an infinitive, right? It's got to be how to. La mujer sabe cocinar. The woman knows how to cook. It's how to. We need saber. Sabemos hablar español. We know how to speak Spanish. It's how to. We need to use saber. ¿Sabes manejar? Do you know how to drive? It's how to do something. Mis amigos saben montar en bici, en moto. En moto. I couldn't fit my word moto in there. My friends know how to ride a motorcycle. Yeah, that's a skill. I don't have that skill. Vale, see? Let's talk about stuff that people know how to do. So here's what you're going to go do in smaller group setting. And we are isolating this for the saber, that is how to do stuff. Right? We're not talking about data or facts. All these slides talk about skills, aptitudes, things you know how to do. Okay. Sabes. Do you know how to? So in your little chat rooms, I want you to talk about ¿qué sabe hacer? Who knows how to do this stuff? So let me, and this hacer is what we're kind of take out of the sentence, that word hacer. I want you to talk about who knows how to play this instrument. And maybe if you don't want to talk about guitarra, you can talk about some other kind of instrument. That's okay too, right? ¿Quién sabe tocar? Who knows how to play? You might talk about a famous person, or you might talk about somebody you actually know. Yeah. If you want to talk about Bruce Springsteen or Eddie Van Halen, que descanse en paz, rest in peace, any of those people, you can do that, right? We're going to talk about who knows how to figure out your taxes. Yeah. You're going to talk about who knows how to grow
Plant, flower.
Flowers. Yeah, to say grow plants, it's cultivar, cultivate. Yeah, but in English, we would say growing plants. We're going to talk about who knows how to
Ski.
ski, somebody you know, or maybe a famous Olympic type person. We're going to talk about who knows how to nadar,
Swimming.
Swim.
swim. You're going to plug in somebody who knows how to swim. Ah. Oh, we're combining hacer with an activity that doesn't use a ball. Hacer with a sport that doesn't use a ball with hacer surf. Do know they do use in some places the verb, they've turned surfear into a verb, but hacer surf. Hacer surf. Okay. And oh, here was something I did last week.
Okay, what is
Did
the
I
name of
enjoy
the
it? No,
surfwear
I
again,
did
you
not.
said?
Yeah. Arreglar el lavaplatos, fixing the
Dishwasher?
dishwasher. Yeah. Bien. Okay.
What does
Bien.
that mean again? The surfear, you say that?
Well, oh, this hacer
The
surf.
surfear, you say that? What does that
Yeah,
mean?
surfear. You know what? I am going to change this up a little bit so you see that. I'll put it under now. Surfear. Some people do use surfear. You do hear people occasionally using this as a verb. But then we
Oh,
would
instead of hacer surf?
instead of
Hacer
hacer,
surf?
right.
Oh, okay.
Exacto. Exactly right. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll put them both in there, but hacer surf, yeah, is like the original. And as time moves on, some people have changed this in some places to a new verb, and then they take away that hacer part.
I think surfear sounds better.
You can do that. If you want to do that in your room, you can do that. That is blessed. Everybody would know what you mean. Okay. You were going to see those pictures in your room, in your little rooms. So, you don't have to memorize. But remember, we're going to talk about who knows how to do that. If you want to talk about yourself, you have to make it the yo form. If you want to talk about a bunch of people, you have to make it a plural form. If you want to talk about one person, you have to make it a singular form. But this is all, none of this is conocer. It's only saber. Bien?
Yeah.
Okay. Is 5 minutes enough, or do you want like 7-ish?
Cinco?
5 minutos? 5 minutos?
Sí.
5 minutos, ok, vale, bien. Vale, breakout rooms. Let me see if this is portioned out correctly. See, we've got an odd number of people. Oh, no, we can add one more room. Ba, 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 ba. And let me get. Bien. Okay, you're all in twosies. So once you hit your join button, I will be able to put these pictures on screen for you. Here we go. Pictures are in the room. Uy, 5 minutos. I need to set my watch. ¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde está el reloj? Aquí. Uy, a ver. Vale, bueno. Uh, There we go. I'm sorry, I had to move these groups around just a teeny tiny bit because we had a couple people who are off screen, which is just fine. Sometimes that happens. Así es. Bien. Vale. Pretty soon we're going to bring people back. Vale. Bien, 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 bien. Okay. We're going to close the rooms. Bring everybody back. Folks have about half a minute to kind of pack it up, tie up the loose ends, and come on back for any questions. Okay. Vale, muy bien. Vamos a empezar otra vez. We're going to start again. Y,
Can I ask a quick question?
sí, sí, claro.
In the using these, I need to have this clarified. When you say I know how to, let's say, cultivate the flowers, you have to conjugate the hacer and you don't conjugate the second verb. Is that correct?
You conjugate the saber and you don't conjugate the second verb. So I know how to grow flowers. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yo sé cultivar. Yo sé cultivar.
So you don't use hacer in there.
No. Okay, let me show you this. Bien. We don't need the hacer there. ¿Quién sabe hacer? Who knows how to do? But now instead of saying how to do, I take out the how to do and I say, who knows how to play? Who knows how to calculate? Who knows how to grow? That basic question, who knows how to do these things? I'm enumerating all kinds of different to-dos. Hacer is a very, very generic to-do verb. Yeah. So, in other words, Cindy, I am saying, ¿Qué sabe cultivar? Who knows how to grow? But I can't put that in that general question for the title. I can't just plug in cultivar because every single question, it's a new and different verb. Does that make sense?
Yes. So you have to put in who knows how to.
Right.
It's already there.
And this verb hacer here is just a generic to do something. But here are all the specific to do things. A specific grow, a specific fix, a specific surfing. Yeah. A specific swim. Yeah. In the general question for the title, I can't put in cultivar because that would only be one activity. I can't plug in calcular. That would only be one activity.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
in the generic question for the title has to use hacer because hacer is a generic verb.
Okay.
And so that's what we kind of plug in, we plug it out and plug in the new verb, right?
Gotcha.
Okay. Otra pregunta. Any other question about this? Anything that you didn't know how to use or?
Marilyn,
Sí.
Nora, are you going to ask her? Should I?
Go ahead, Carrie.
So we were wondering when you have to insert the lo, like if I'm saying, I don't know how to cultivate flowers. No, do you have to say no lo sé cultivar flores, or do you just?
Okay. There we won't use a lo. No sé cultivar. No sé cultivar. Right? I could say no las sé cultivar. I don't know how to grow them. And the las is talking about flores.
See.
Yeah, I could do that. Does that make sense? See?
So you'd only use the lo when you're just talking about generically, I know it. Or I
Yeah,
don't know it.
sí,
Okay.
exacto. And we'll see some examples of that in a minute, en un minuto. Okay? Bien. Buena pregunta. Good question. Otra pregunta. Any other question?
I had one just about pronunciation. Hijo, Hijo.
Oh, hijo.
What was that again?
Hijo.
Okay.
Hijo. Hijo is
Okay.
talking about my kid, my son,
Okay.
right? And when we pronounce that, the H goes silent. H is silent unless it's a CH combination. So, hijo.
Hijo. Okay.
Right. But that
Right,
J
thanks.
in the middle, right, does get an H sound. Hijo, hijo. That makes sense? See?
Yep, thank you.
Perfecto, perfecto. Muy bien, muy bien. Okay. A ver. We're going to plug something else in here. We're going to, because I did not drill this with you. So we're going to riff on this idea. We're going to use saber with stuff that relates to info, facts, just data, stuff. Yeah, not how to, not a verb. Saber with facts. Okay, this is the stuff where sometimes we might get messed up a little bit. So let me give you an idea. I'm going to start the ball rolling here. I'm going to start the ball rolling with an idea of, I'm going to talk about Juanita. I'm going to make it more specific. Mi amiga Juanita. My friend Jan. Mi amiga Juanita sabe. She knows. I want to talk about a fact, a thingy, a stuff, some kind of stuff that Juanita knows. Mi amiga Juanita sabe mi número. Oh, perdón. Wow, it booted me out of my Spanish keyboard. Got to get that back. Mi número de teléfono. Jim knows my phone number. My phone number is not a human being. It's not a place. It's not how to do something, but it is just a plain old piece of data. Yeah, it's a bunch of numbers. Juanita sabe mi número de teléfono. We're going to talk about what different people know, where we use just saber. Stuff that relate only to facts, not to. We're not going to be relating to how to do stuff, but facts. Okay. And we're going to come up with some examples. Okay. Let's talk about mi vecino sabe. My neighbor knows some kind of fact. Let's plug in something that would make sense here. My neighbor knows something.
Mi hijos, my children.
But that would be people. So we can't use that with sabe. Mi vecino sabe. My neighbor knows.
What about
Mi dirección.
Mi vecino sabe mi dirección. Bien. My neighbor knows my address. This is important for when my neighbor gets my mail that the post office was supposed to put in my mailbox, mi buzón, yeah? But, yeah, okay? Bien. Mi vecino sabe mi dirección. I'm going to riff a different idea. Mi vecino sabe. Sabe cuántos perros
sí.
hay en el barrio. My neighbor knows how many dogs are in the
neighborhood.
That's just information, stuff. How many? Bien. Okay. Let's make it a negative. And we're going to see what we can plug in. No sabemos, we don't know. And we're not going to put in how to. We're going to put in stuff. No sabemos, we don't know.
No, el número de teléfono. de mis viejos.
Mis hijos.
Sí,
El número de teléfono
Mhm.
de, well, probably would be nuestros hijos. You know what? I don't know my kid's phone number very well because it's already saved in my phone. Isn't that terrible?
Yeah.
We don't know phone. And if you do, God bless you because yeah. No sabemos. No sabemos. Let's change this up a little bit to no sabemos. How would we say, ¿cómo se dice? We don't know how much it costs. We don't know how much it costs is information, right?
yes.
No sabemos. ¿Cómo se dice how much?
¿Cuánto?
¿Cuánto
Cuesta. ¿Cuántos
cuesta? No sabemos cuánto cuesta. We don't know how much it costs. No sabemos cuánto cuesta. Okay. ¿Cómo se dice? We don't know. We don't know where the money is. Shoot, where'd we put it? No sabemos.
¿Dónde?
Donde.
¿Dónde?
¿Dónde?
De el dinero.
El dinero está.
¿Dónde
Yes.
está?
Dinero.
El
El dinero.
El dinero.
Ah, ¿cómo se dice? We don't know who has the money. Oh, or let's say ticket. We don't know who has the tickets. We don't know who has the tickets. No, that's who
No
has
sabemos.
the tickets is
¿Quién?
information. No sabemos
No sabemos.
¿Quién?
¿Quién?
¿Quién
quién has, tiene,
Tiene
tiene el
Los-
boleto?
Boletos.
los boletos.
it might be los boletos, it might be las entradas, if they're like tickets to get into an event, it'll be entradas. Yeah, either one of those tickets. Bien. Who has the tickets is information. Yeah, it's not asking that you know that human being. It's who has the tickets is just
Mhm.
a fact. You're starting to get an idea, right?
Mhm.
Okay, we're going to ask, ¿sabes? Do you know? With some kind of data. ¿Sabes?
Manejar un helicóptero.
¿Sabes? Otra vez, Juanita.
¿Sabes manejar un helicóptero?
Oh, manejar, manejar. Un helicóptero. Creo que helicóptero. Okay, and that is how to do something. Okay, bien. Let's go more into the data thing. Bien, yeah, that's right. Es correcto. It's right. We want something that's more like, ¿sabes? La información.
¿Qué equipos siguen en los playoffs de la NBA?
Otra vez, Carrie, otra vez, ¿sabes?
¿Qué equipos siguen en los playoffs de la NBA? Who's it?
Help me out. I'm getting a little bit of an echo with it. ¿Sabes? Did you say Libra?
What teams are playing? I'm sorry.
Oh, ¿sabes?
Equipos.
¿Sabes los equipos
Equipos.
que van a jugar? Who are going to
Mhm.
play? That's just information. Buen ejemplo. That's a good example of just information. We want to know which teams are on the roster, right? ¿Sabes? ¿Sabes los equipos que van a jugar? Do you know the teams that are going to play? That's just information. See? Okay. ¿Entienden? ¿Qué te haría? ¿Sí? All these things are just stuff that relates to information, facts, data, just random stuff. Yeah? Bien? Bien? Okay. Conocer is a different thing because now conocer, and we're going to take a look at our conocer examples and give you some alone time with that. ¿Quién conoce a alguien? Who knows somebody? I'm going to put in alguien in here. But un lugar. Okay. So, no conozco a Tom Hanks. We just need that in there because when we name a human being receives the action of no. We have to use in front of their name. It doesn't translate. Mi esposo conoce a un buen plomero. Ustedes conocen al doctor Ramos. ¿Conoces un buen restaurante? No more needed there because restaurant isn't a human being. Okay? So we take the out if there's no human being there. Yo conozco Londres. I know London, meaning I have actually been to London. Bien? Vale? Okay? So I want you to play around with a little bit, not saber. I want you to play around with conocer, conoces. What person do you know? Or what places are you familiar with, right? So I want you to talk about, do you know all of your cousins? And I have to put that question in because I've got 48 cousins only on my dad's side of the family. 48 and no conozco a todos mis primos. No conozco a todos mis primos. I really don't know all of my cousins. And that's just one side of my family. Okay, bien. Talk about what person you know, or you can talk about other people knowing your cousins or whatever. See, knowing a place, knowing another place that's bigger, right? Knowing your friends, knowing, and talk about a place that you camp. Talk about a place that you camp. Meaning that you've actually been there. Bien. So you're going to get these questions in your little room. Bien. Para conversar 5 minutos. 5 minutes I know is going to be enough for that one. Bien. Vale. Bueno. A ver. And I will send those pictures into your room with you. Bien. Bien, bien, bien. Vamos a regresar en 30 segundos, 30 seconds. Got 30 seconds to go. Vale, bueno. A ver. Ok, aquí vienen. Here come folks back. Yay. Vale, muy bien, muy bien, muy
And
bien.
Marilyn, when we go through the one about the Mexican restaurant, I think we should all name our favorite Mexican restaurant in the area.
Sí, así es. So it is. Sí, tienes razón. Qué buena idea. Qué genial. That's great. Yeah, sí. Okay. Bueno, ¿hay alguna pregunta? Is there any kind of question about how we use this? And then we're going to get to our phrase Mexican restaurants. ¿Hay alguna pregunta? Any question about like something, one of those you didn't quite know how to use or? But those are all talking about places and people. That's why we're using conocer. Bien. Bueno, entonces, sí. ¿Quién conoce un buen restaurante mexicano? Aquí en mi pueblo hay un restaurante mexicano muy, muy, muy fantástico y se llama El Encanto. El Encanto.
Is that in Fountain Hills?
Sí, sí, sí.
Mm.
Un buen restaurante mexicano, sí, El Encanto.
Me encanta.
Okay, okay. ¿Hay alguien conoce un buen otro buen restaurante mexicano? Hay un montón. There are a ton of them here. Hay un montón en Scotia, ¿no?
Yes.
Marilyn, I wanted to see if this is the right order to say it, but conozco Manuel's
Bien.
un restaurante mexicano de Manuel's. Is that the order that you would say it?
Oh, conozco el restaurante mexicano a Manuel's.
Just Manuel's.
O que se llama Manuel's, or that's called Manuel's. Que se llama, that is called. Que se llama, that also works. There are different ways you can do that. Conozco Manuel's. Conozco Manuel's. Bien. Boom. Eso es todo. Yeah, there are different ways you can do that, just like we do in English. We combine those different ways. Exacto. Okay. Bueno.
Conozco Jalapeno.
¿Y dónde está? ¿Dónde está?
In Scottsdale, in Market Square.
Bien.
I needed help with shopping center, Calm Safeway, Scottsdale Road.
En el centro comercial
Mercado.
con
Centro
Safeway.
Comercial con Safeway.
Bien, bien, excelente. Hay otro mexicano, restaurante mexicano que conocen ustedes, that you guys know. Nada. Bien.
Julio's.
Ok.
A ver,
Julio.
almuerza. La almuerza.
Almuerzo, lunch, ¿sí? Para el almuerzo. Bien. Ok. Fantástico. Okay. And I see we're getting close up to the hour. Wow. I planned way too much. So, wow. Okay. Saber conocer. It's more important to get that practice in. so that you make sure you get it down pat a little bit better. We're going to use the last, we've got 6 more minutes. Nos quedan 6 minutos. We've just got 6 minutes left. We are not getting into all of our vocab. So let's take a look at that vocab. Let's take a look so that you at least know how to pronounce it. And I'm going to give you a snippet of a video to watch for homework that will start to plug this in as well, but you will not have to watch the whole video, but you'll see what we mean. You guys had a nice video to watch. We're going to switch gears a little bit here, but we're going to kind of preview what we're going to work on more next week. This is I kind of over planned here. Yeah, you guys have this video already, right? Where she talked about
Yeah.
Marilyn,
see.
the comment. So I found this video like drinking out of a fire hose. It was just
Okay.
too fast and furious.
Okay.
However, if you could perhaps think about maybe when you take us through, or when we go through all of these adjectives, more examples for each one, I think would be
Exacto.
really helpful.
Okay, sí, bien, bien, bien. Okay, we will do that. So let's take a look at this. I did give you this whole list, did I not?
Yes.
See? Bien, okay. Let's just take the last few minutes to know how these words sound.
Mhm.
Okay, bien. Because once we start to get into longer words or more descriptive words, sometimes the first hurdle is just knowing how to pronounce these words well so that we are understood. And so we're going to take this and gracias, Marcos. Thank you. I will send you some more examples using these words. All
Thank
these
you.
words. I'm going to send you an extra. I may just add it onto this list so that you've already got the link. But okay, a ver. So let's take a look at how these are pronounced. And we've got 2 words here. Adaptable. And so remember, some of these are going to sound like English words you already know. Some will not. But we're going to have to pronounce all the letters that normally might go silent in English, right? So instead of adaptable, adaptable.
Adaptable.
Adaptable. Adaptable.
Adaptable.
Another word that means the same thing we use in the same context is flexible.
Flexible.
Flexible. Okay, but we have to pronounce all those letters. These are very common words to say that somebody goes with the flow. Yeah, see? Adaptable, flexible.
Flexible.
Flexible. We've got another word, which is one of the many words we use to say that somebody is really, really nice, kind. Affable. Affable.
Affable.
We have a word affable. But how often do you use affable in English? Not a whole lot, right? But affable would be actually a fairly commonly used word, right? Affable. And notice there are other words in that example. Agradable is often used. Agradable, right? Agradable in the first sentence, right? There is a fairly common word to use as well. Ambicioso. Ambicioso.
Ambicioso.
Ambicioso. Ambicioso. These are the long words. Ambicioso. Ambicioso is ambitious. It won't necessarily mean ambitious in like a greedy sense. Not necessarily. It could be, but ambitious can be both a good and a negative quality, kind of depending, right? Same thing with Spanish, but it's pronounced ambicioso, ambicioso. Next one is a word I like a lot, and we take the word amigo, which you already know, amigo, and we make it amigable. Amigable.
Amigable.
Amigable. Amigable. A person who is friendly. And that little definition es una persona educada. Educada means polite, courteous, respectful. Educada, right? Amigable. So amigable is somebody who's friendly, sociable. They are friendly with people. Yeah. Okay. Amigable. Brillante. Brillante. Brillante, brilliant. Somebody who's very, very smart, very clever, very quick, quick on their feet with figuring anything out. Somebody who's open-minded, de mente abierta, de mente abierta. De mente, which means your mind, de mente abierta. Open-minded. Sometimes, do know when we use open-minded, some people just use the word by itself, abierto or abierta. They'll just take that word abierta that you see in de mente abierta, and they just use abierto or abierta if they were talking about a woman. So do know that that word, soy una persona abierta. I am an open person, meaning I am open to thinking different ways. I am open to suggestions. See? Bien? Okay. And I would suggest in number 7 that you just look at the first word, meticuloso, because we have a good English word for that, which means
Meticulous.
meticulous. Yeah, that word meticulous. Meticuloso, meticuloso. Concienzudo is kind of a mouthful. Let's look at just meticuloso, meticuloso, meticulous. Somebody who focuses on teeny tiny details, right? That they cross all the T's and dot all the I's. They are very detail oriented. That's meticuloso, detail oriented, meticuloso. Okay. Honrado, 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 someone who is honorable, who is honest. Honrado, honrado. Bien? Somebody who is polite or courteous, cortés. Cortés. It's a short word. One of the short words on the list, cortés. Bien? Somebody who can make up their mind and get her done. Decisivo. 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 Okay, and they give you decisive or strong-minded, but somebody who can make up their mind and move it on. Yeah, decisivo, decisivo. Kind of related to that talent is determinado. Determinado, we have determined. Yeah, meaning they hang in there. Yeah, kind of tenacious, right? Determinado. Determinado, somebody who is determined. They really get it done. And I'll give you some more examples here. Diplomático. Diplomático. Diplomático, diplomatic. Okay? Somebody who hasn't got a care in the world. Yeah? Super. I just go with the flow in any situation is despreocupado. Preocupado, without the des in front of it, preocupado means worried. When we put a des in front of it, it means somebody who's not worried at all. They don't get worked up about anything. Despreocupado. 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 Okay. Despreocupado. Okay. Somebody who's very prepared. Preparada. That's the feminine form. It might be preparado. Preparado. Prepared, proficient. Somebody who knows how to do stuff. Preparado. Okay. Bien. Franco. Frank, honest, upfront. They tell you exactly what they mean. Franco. Una persona franca. Again, we can make that a feminine form. Okay. This next one only go, is often going to be entusiasta. 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 Enthusiastic. They're always up. Yeah. Entusiasta. Okay. Entusiasta. Intuitivo. Intuitivo. Intuitive. They can figure stuff out from just kind of the lay of the land. Yeah. They can figure out how to do stuff. They can read the room. They can understand people pretty easily and figure out what they're like. Intuitivo, intuitive. Inventivo, inventivo, inventive. They can do a MacGyver. MacGyver stuff, yeah? Intuitivo. Modesto, modest. Somebody who does not blast out everything they know how to do. Yeah, modesto, modest. Habilidoso, skilled. I'm going to try to rush here a little bit to make sure we fit this in. I don't want to go too far over time. Plácido, plácido. Somebody who is placid. A person who does not get worked up easily. Plácido. They're calm. Plácido. Calm. Yeah. Like still water. There we go. Proactivo. Proactivo. Proactive, right? Somebody who just jumps in to get everything's figured out so that they don't have to tie up any loose ends. Yeah. Proactivo. They jump right in and take control. Proactivo.
Marilyn,
Sí,
would
sí.
that also have a feminine?
Proactiva, sí.
Proactiva? Oh,
Sí.
proactiva.
Sí. Bien. Audaz. Audaz is our next word. Audaz. We have a word audacious in English that comes from the same thing, but somebody who is very daring. They, there's another word actually for daring, atrevido, but audaz is a great word. Audaz. Somebody who will do wild stuff is audaz. Yeah. Ingenioso, ingeniosa, resourceful. We have the word ingenious. Ingenious means you can figure stuff out with a very limited supply of resources, right? Ingenioso, ingenioso. And our last one is versátil, versátil, versátil. That accent mark means we got to punch that particular syllable, versátil. Okay. Hacer una persona capaz de hacer muchas cosas diferentes. Es una persona, it's a person who's capable of doing many different things, talented in many different ways, versátil, a thing that is useful in many different ways is versátil. Okay, bien. Bien. And I will, actually, this is pretty long. I think what I will do is I will create a new file with examples. Gracias, Marcos. I'm going to give concrete examples that will make sense. And we're going to have to come back and revisit those questions I had sent you last week. The questions I had sent you last week were these, but we didn't have time to even scratch the surface. So yeah, we'll come back to these, but I'm going to give you some examples. And I think maybe, I was going to give you a video. Maybe, yeah, I will send you the video, but you're probably only going to watch maybe the first, I'm going to say like 6 minutes or so. Because otherwise it's going to get too far into the weeds. But if you listen to the first couple of minutes, you'll see why, because it ties into this idea of describing people. Okay. Using these adjectives to describe people. Sometimes we can use these to describe things, but it kind of depends, right? Okay. ¿Está bien? We're good? Bien. We're going to work on the descriptive end, bien, for next week. And I'm sorry I had like too much stuff. We did not fit it all in, but, we go with the flow. Somos flexibles. We are Somos flexibles. We are flexible. Gotta be flexible. Okay. Y nos vemos la semana que viene. We'll see you guys next week. Bien? Bien?
Bien.
Yeah.
Bien.
I will send
Adios.
you more examples so that we can use that for conversation next week. Okay. Vale.
Muchas
fantastic.
gracias.
Vale.
Muchas gracias.
Es un placer.
Hasta
Es un
luego.
placer. It's a
Hasta
pleasure.
luego.
Y hasta luego.